Okay, I'm going to show you how to change the oil in a 2006 Honda Rubicon Trail Edition. And it's pretty much straightforward. It's fairly easy. I've seen a lot of people forget about the two drain bolts underneath, which I'll show you in a minute. But there's two drain bolts on these bikes. I've seen a lot of people just dump the oil out of the engine and never dump it out of the oil cooler. So as you can see, you have an oil cooler on this one, and then you get your main oil in the block of the engine. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, you want to do is you want to start your bike up. Run your bike for about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. Take it for a ride. This oil change, you're going to need 5 quarts of oil, 10W40, 4-stroke oil. Castor oil is what I use. You can use whatever you want. I read, and I actually did a lot of reading about people saying do not use full synthetic oil in these ATVs because they use a hydrostatic transmission. So apparently it doesn't allow it to shift. It doesn't shift properly or something. I don't know. I haven't tried it. So maybe you can leave a comment if you guys use the full synthetic. Whatever. Let me know. But I haven't used it. I'd like to be able to use it, but they say it's a no-no. You're going to need an oil filter for your bike, 2006 Honda. And you're going to need the proper tools. You're going to need your socket set. You're probably going to need a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, so you can get the oil filter cap off. They're usually pretty hard. Need some rags or some paper towel. You're going to need your oil pan, a funnel. I use that type of funnel, one with the hose that goes under the bottle. There's no spill, there's no mess. You may want to put a piece of plastic underneath your ATV to stop any oil from getting on the floor of your shop or on the ground. First things first, after your bike's warmed up, remove your filler cap so it allows air from the top of the motor to go through the engine. Inspect your seal, your rubber. Mine looks good. Usually you don't have to change these, sometimes you do. So inspect that. If you don't need to change it, it's good to go. Use a pair of vinyl gloves so you don't get oil over your hands. Next thing is to get your oil pan, clean it out. And the reason why I say clean it out is you want an absolute clean oil pan so you can check to see if there's any shavings. And basically inspect your oil. So as you see, my oil pan is clean. Maybe a little piece of paper towel in there. So what you need to do now is you need to climb down into your bike. And underneath your bike, there is your first oil drain plug, which is your oil cooler. There's your second oil drain plug. That's your block. I've seen a lot of people change their oil, only take that one out, and then turn around and try to put 5 quarts of oil on their bike. It can cause some damage to your ATV, guys, so pay well attention to that. Pull that plug and pull that plug. After you get that all drained out, there's your filter. You pull that down, you're going to need a screwdriver to get up and around the seal here so you can just get it started and pull it off. And then you drop your filter into the pan and inspect your filter. You're going to need sockets 17 with an extension, your ratchet. And first we're going to loosen up. Try to do this with one hand, you guys. You're going to want to loosen up the main engine drain bolt. Make sure our engine oil is fairly warm, you guys. So it's always good to warm your bike up, to get it warm. Not extremely hot, but warm. Run it through your transmission. Let it drain out. Once this pan, I advise you to dump your pan. It depends on how big your pan is. Maybe you get a bigger pan than what I have. But drain all the oil out of the block first and dump your pan. Inspect your pan. Then do the same thing for the oil cooler. Okay, so we'll let that drain out and we'll do the next one. I also forgot to add too, and when I was taking this bolt out. You see this bolt right here? Well, that's not a magnetic bolt. So I recommend everybody to buy the magnetic bolt that goes up into these. They are expensive. I think they're 20 bucks. They are well worth it. Shavings do happen to get through your transmission or whatever. The filter doesn't catch everything. I don't care what everybody says. It's better to buy a bolt that's magnetic. I'm going to purchase one for this, for the oil cooler and for the engine block when I get the spare money, and it will help you in the long run. And plus you get to see the shavings and stuff it collects instead of looking at the bottom of your pan. Gives you an idea like what kind of wear you got going on in your engine. Maybe it's time for a top end rebuild. You never know. Inspect your washer that goes on right here. That's a sealing washer. Normally they don't go, but over time you might want to get some new ones put on there. It's always a good idea. Probably every 5 years I've changed this, so bike's going on 10 years old, so it's only got one on it. So I let it drain, screw it and bolt back up in there, wipe it off. And snug that up to about probably, I think it's like 15 foot-pounds or something like that. I just snug mine up and I'll show you when I go to tighten it up. So we'll do that now. Just to give you an idea, these things don't have to be very tight at all. A lot of people will reef on them and torque the heck out of them when you don't need to. So you just get it snug. Got it by the ratchet right here. And you get to the point where you can't turn it no more. A little bit more, that's it. That's all you need. Everybody reefs some torques on them, and I seen them strip them out. Then they're in a mess. Taking it in and getting it fixed. And that's not no easy task. So why over tight when you don't need it? So next is the drain bolt for the oil cooler. So I wanted to show you a little tip that I have here for you. That's what I have for an oil jug. Now I have a friend in the area that has a shop. He heats his shop and he heats his house by burnt oil through a big furnace. So I save my oil and put it in this jug, nothing but oil in it, and take it to him. So I thought I'd show you that. You know, it's just a simple old water jug. Pour your oil over into it. Try to make no mess. Let it drain down. Then we're going to take a look at the bottom of this pan and see what we have for shavings. I see one right there, which looks to be a pretty good size shaving. There's some small ones right there. Now when you see this in your oil change,
don't get all worried about it, because that's ordinary wear on your clutches, on your automatic transmission in these bikes. That's the way they are. I've changed the oil every time, and I've always gotten, you know, one or two little spots where the shavings are in the pan, and that's it. There's another one right there. I think that's a rock from where there's some rocks yet in there. Fell off the bike when I was tightening up that bolt. So I just wanted to show you that. Like I said, you might find a few little tiny shavings in your bike. You see a whole shitload of them in there, well then I'd be worried, but you might see one or two, maybe three in your bike. It's nothing to worry about, you guys. That's ordinary transmission wear. These Rubicons have the they call them a hydrostatic transmission. You got the push button shift, or you got the automatic. And wasn't really a big fan of the transmission, but I've never had a problem with them. They work really good. They got lots of power. So definitely better than a belt drive any day. So let's take out the other bolt for the oil cooler. So for me, draining the oil cooler is a little bit of a pain in the butt. As you can see, I have a bracket on there, which is my plow mount for my plow. I just left it on. I never used the bike too much through the summer, but hunting season's coming, and I don't think I'll be taking that off this year. Well, I haven't taken it off all summer, so it ain't coming off now. So as you can see, there is a hole right here that allows the oil to drain out and allows you to get to the drain bolt. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ratchet and we're going to loosen this off. Slide our pan underneath. And yeah, some dirt and rocks is getting in their pan, so I'll just take our light. I need to get that letter loose in here a little bit more. So take that out, let it drop right in there, because I have to let it drop in there because of that pan. So as you can see, it drains out pretty good through the hole. And the oil looks pretty good, actually. Could have probably went a little longer on the oil change. As you can see, the oil is pretty warm. I don't like to go too long on my oil changes. A lot of people won't even change the oil. That there's probably as long as I want to go, actually. Usually I put around 1,000 kilometers to 1,500 kilometers to my oil change. And you can go longer. Well, I don't like to. I like to keep the inside of my engine as nice and clean as can be. And I also like to inspect the engine, like I said, for shavings. The bike's 10 years old, so maybe you might want to do it more often. Like I said, 1,000 kilometers. Don't go any further than that. Now, you've seen how much was in that pan. The first time I dumped, just from the block, it's half full again. So if you would have left that pan
and did the oil cooler, you would have had a full pan to deal with and a mess. So that's why I said dump your oil first before you do your oil cooler, because that keeps a lot of oil in there. So we'll let this run and drip for a little bit, and we'll be back.
Talk to you here for a little bit, and while I'm letting that drip down there. Like I said, this bike is a 2006. It's going on 10 years old, and this is actually the second set of tires that I've had on this bike. The first ones I had were the Swamp Fox. I took them on, put them on, I think 1 month after riding the bike with the original tires. And I go in some rough terrain, and there's a lot of ledge and shit like that, so I didn't trust the 2-ply tires. So I purchased the Swamp Fox tires, and I rode them, sold my other ones. And I didn't get very long out of them Swamp Fox tires. I think I only got like friggin' maybe 2 years if I was lucky. And they were wearing out pretty quick, and I plow my driveway, so they weren't really hooking up. So I purchased these ITPs, ITP mud lights, and there's a tire right there. This has been the best tire that I've had or seen for tread life. I drive a lot on the roads as well, just like anybody else out there. I go on the roads, I cross bridges, I ride a lot around ledge, and look at the tread on these tires. These tires are, let me see, well, they're at least 8 years old, so not bad for an 8-year-old tire on this bike. And they're not weather cracked, as you can see. The fronts are wore a little bit, but there's still quite a bit of lug on them. I'll probably run these another year before I buy new tires, but the back tires got a lot more lug. So when these back tires wear down, then I'll change all of them. And I will be putting back on the ITP mud lights, because like you said, you can't beat it. 8 years out of a set of tires. And yes, I do ride. I probably got damn near 60,000 kilometers on this bike. And look at the shape of it. It's in good shape, it's clean, I take care of it. And also recommend too, when you're doing an oil change, let's take off the seat. There's only a couple things on this bike that I had to replace throughout its lifespan of 10 years. And that was the brake cable for the foot brake. I think it was the foot brake that I had to replace. Or no, sorry, it was this one I had to replace. The cable was old, and I think the only reason why I had to replace the brake cable was because, you know, you get out and you're having a good time, you put your brake on, you walk away from your bike, and you forget, well, I left it on. Start your bike up and take off and go down the road about 25 feet. Oh shit, my brake's on. So yeah, I've done that a few times, I'll admit that. So that's the only thing I think that I had to replace that. And oh yeah, and my switch. I'm in the process of switching my winch switch, the mini rocker. That finally went. The out would work, but the in wouldn't. So have to have that fixed for hunting and plowing. It's a must. And all I'm going to do is I cut the wire from the switch. When a new switch gets here, I'll just wire it right up to that, and use some of these here to seal it back up with some black tape, and you'll never have a problem with it. Everybody says, oh, it could be the wiring. No, 9 times out of 10 it's not the wiring, it's the switch. The switch is 10 years old, like I said, so I didn't even bother checking the wiring. There was power going to it, so that told me that it's the switch. I'll do a video on that when switch comes in, so don't forget to subscribe, you guys. I really appreciate that. And so what else I like to do too, but I already done it to this model, but to this bike before I did my oil change, was clean this air filter. It's very important that you keep this clean. You may look in there and say it's not dirty. I've seen people not clean them. Look how clean that is, you guys. That is absolutely clean. So it's very important to clean that. And the reason why being is, well, if you don't clean it, what happens is your bike don't get the air flow to the engine like it should be. So what happens is your bike gets running too rich. You lose a little bit of power, and your bike just works a little bit sluggish. And I mean, yeah, it ain't gonna hurt your bike to be running a little bit too rich, but clean that air filter is very important. Inspect the rubber around where your air filter hooks on. Best thing to do if you the type of person who doesn't have any patience for cleaning your air filter, buy 2. Well, buy 1 extra. You'll have it. Take the one out of the bike. The other one's already clean with the foam oil filter, foam, whatever you're going to call it. It's already on it, sitting in a bag, waiting to be put on. So you don't have to sit around and wait. This is the stuff that I use right here. This is the, it's not that one, is it? It's this one. This is the stuff you get from Honda. Foam air filter oil. It's a must to have this. Do not put a filter on their air filter without having that. That stops all your fine dust going into your engine. So it's very important. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So I think it's probably time now to put that bolt back in. So let's get down there and do that. Got my glove on. Okay, so I moved the pan. Put a piece of paper towel there until I get that bolt back. So let's pull this pan out, drain it. You can see I got some dirt on top of the oil. So let's dump this into the a lot of oil. This bike holds almost 5 quarts of oil, which is crazy. It's only 2 quarts shy of a 5.7 liter Hemi. But I guess it has to have all that oil to go through the transmission. Yep, the Hemi takes 7 quarts. Just shy of 7 quarts. And this bike takes damn near 5 quarts. So, which I think is kind of ridiculous. So there's our bolt. Got it all drained into the jug. So let's take a look and see if there's any shavings. And it's only the one shaving I see. It's still in the pan. So looks pretty good. There's a couple there, I think. I don't know if that's shavings or if that's dirt. I think that's the dirt that was in the pan. There's a shaving right there. A few shavings. So that's pretty much normal, you guys. I wouldn't get all hyped up over seeing a few little shavings in your bike. So let's pull the bolt out. This is going to be a magnetic bolt. Next time I do my oil change. Usually you wait on eBay or Amazon. You can find them cheaper somewhere else. So let's put this back on. Don't forget to inspect your sealing washer. That one there looks pretty good. I put that on 5 years ago. Always inspect your sealing washers, unless you just want problem with oil leaking out of your engine, you guys. So that one looks pretty good. When they put these bolts in these bikes, they should have been magnet to begin with. I don't know why they didn't. It's kind of stupid. I guess that's an added feature, but the prices you pay for these bikes, damn near up to friggin' $13,000 now today, and you think they would throw something like that in, but who knows? I guess another way for them to make money. So let's put this back on. Get it up in there. Get it started. So next thing to do is the filter. Get this on, wiped up, tighten down. Like I said, don't tighten the hell out of them. It's not worth it. So just, like I said, reach down here, get to the point where you can't go no further, grab by the end of the handle, just a little bit of a snug. That's all it needs. Like seriously, that ain't very tight, you guys. Don't torque the hell out of your friggin'. Check them both. You don't need to torque them that much. Like that's tight enough. It's very stupid over tightening those bolts and costing yourself a couple $100 to fix. So now I gotta get a bolt or a socket for that. Right back. Okay, so now you're gonna need a 12 socket for your filter, as you can see right there. So we'll loosen this up. Geez, that seems to be on there pretty tight. Loosen that out. Ratchet to the side. Now as soon as you pull this, holy shit. As soon as you pull that out, you're going to have oil starting to run out of your bike. So you want to have your drain pan closed. If I can turn that with my hand. No, I can't. It's hard to do this with one hand too, you guys. So don't be laughing at me. I'm trying to do all this with one hand, hold the camera, and get no oil over. Yeah, I know. Why a tripod? That's what they all say.
should be able to turn that out now. Holy shit. Well, maybe if I take the socket off, chase it around the dooryard, wherever the hell it went to. Ah, shit. This would probably be the messiest part of doing the whole oil change. Oh, look at that. Got it all over my ratchet. That's the first time I've ever seen. That's why I got paper towel. Then I have to clean my ratchet down. That's the first time I've ever seen that oil filter adapter drop down on it like that. That's pretty cool. First time. First time in 10 years that's ever done that. Usually I had to use a screwdriver and get up and around here and just kind of like work it to get started so I could pull it off. But holy shit. I can't believe that. Turn over a new leaf, I guess. So you want to get this started. Drop that off. Turn it upside down. Let stuff run out of it. Just set it in the pan. You might want to clean up your hand or your glove. That's why I got a glove on. Just go pull it off, put a new one on. So, next thing you want to do, when that's all done dripping, clean up your area. And then get up in there with a cloth, with a paper towel. And fold your paper towel a couple times. Make a small piece and wipe it all out really good. And we'll put the new filter on. Now you always should make sure which way your filter goes on. So as you can see, that's how the filter goes on. If I can get the filter off, maybe set it over here. No, I'm gonna have to use two hands. Jeez. Fucking filter's on there good. So we'll get the filter off and inspect that. Spray back. Okay, so I brought everything over here and cleaned it off to the best that I could anyway. And let me grab another piece of paper towel. Okay, so everything wiped off. As you can see, it's nice and clean in there now. That rubber O-ring right there, I had to replace that 2 years ago. Always inspect it. You're going to see little pieces coming off of here and there every once in a while. As it's starting to do right there. Just where it gets pinched a little bit. Going up into the block. But inspect that rubber O-ring. They're not very much. Might want to pick up one now. Have a couple on hand. Replace it. $2. That's all they are. Well worth it. Clean that off. And then you get your, call them a bolt. I don't know what they call these. I have to look in the book. But inspect that rubber right there. Make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Clear around the whole friggin' thing. And make sure you get this cleaned in there really good. Because shavings like to get in there, stay from previous oil changes. So I got to clean that. And here's the filter, which looks pretty darn good. Filter looks like it's actually quite new. Now that filter, out of all the filters that I've purchased for this machine and put into it, that filter stuck on to that right there. I had to pull that sucker off there. That was on there quite hard. And never ever had that. Usually they slide on there fairly easy. But that one there was on hard. So when we put the other one on, we'll see how it goes on. Maybe that was actually the wrong size filter, or the rubber around the ceiling there. I have no idea, but it's the first time I ever had it happen.
So let's put the new filter. Well, actually, we gotta get back underneath the bike and clean that up first. So I'll show you that really quick. And put the filter back together. I'll show you the order of the spring and your sealing washer. And I don't think actually this one has a sealing washer. Maybe it should. I might have one here. And usually I think they do. They're supposed to have a washer that goes on there on one side. So I'm going to look for one. I never seen one in here. So maybe in the previous oil change I'd done, I might have lost it. But I don't remember. But it would make sense. But maybe I don't have to. I don't know. So anyways, let me get that mess cleaned up. Let's go clean it up, you guys, and we'll put that back together. I was kind of curious. Let me get this here for you. Focus. There is a washer that goes on there. So I wanted to show you that diagram of how the filter goes back up in your bike. There it is for you guys right there. And then here's this side over here. I'll give you a quick skim of the book. Skim through so you can have it for your records if maybe you don't have one. Or you lost it somehow. But it's called an O-ring, which is supposed to be on there. Okay, so I put this filter on. I showed you in the diagram. You got your spring that goes on first, which you can see there, your spring. Then your washer goes against your rubber right here. You know, showed you diagram. Follow that. Put it back on. Now this filter here is not as tight. See, it moves. So this filter here must have been a defect. It was pretty snug. So I don't know what was up with that, but another tip. When you're putting this back on, put a little oil around your O-rings so they don't dry up. You might want to purchase a reusable filter. I don't know, I had one for my dirt bike. I bought 2 of them. One was clean, ready to go. So if you bought one for your four-wheeler, you'd have to buy 2. So one's clean, ready to go. And so you can slide it, put it right back together. So slide this back up in there. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to put some oil around that. So put your oil around your ring, just so it don't dry up in there. Slide this back up inside. Screw it back on. So let me get this tightened up. 18 foot-pounds. Okay, so I got my ratchet here. Tighten this back up so it goes up in there nicely. As you can see, maybe you can't see it going up in there. So you get it up in there and you get it snug, and then you torque it to about 18 foot-pounds. I don't like over torquing, so I'll probably go 15. There, she's all sealed. I'm going to wipe it off again just to be sure everything is all cleaned up under here. So now you guys are ready to put the oil in. Okay, so let's get the oil into the bike. And like I said, I use a hose funnel. Here's right here. Screws on the end of the bottle. No mess. No problems. So let's dump this in to the bike. Open the valve up, which I guess it's off. And you just let it run. plug. Put your thing back in, your cover. And then start your bike up. Now if the oil flies out of it, it's not my fault. So, let your bike run for a couple minutes. Bike set for a couple minutes. Pull your dipstick out. Clean it off. And slide it back in. Now, I've seen people do this too online. You don't screw it in. You just let it sit there like that. Then you pull it out. And then you want the oil to be between the half mark of that space on top of your dipstick.